The collapse of the 2025 A's, a 22-day nightmare that shattered a season. Today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Booney, one name, all passion, zero filter. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. We're stacking chips, we're building a dynasty, and we are making noise. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So do me a favor and punch that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. Today's episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. Happy Sunday, everybody. And today, while the A's have been playing great, it seems like every show I do after a win, someone is commenting on only if we won 7 of 21 of those games or half of those games, where would we be today? So it had me thinking, and it gave me nightmares thinking about that 21 game stretch. So I had to tear the Band-Aid off, and this show is mostly for therapy for myself. You guys made me do this, actually. This is your fault, not my fault, your fault. But what we're going to do today is we're going to relive that 20 of 21 game stretch. Rip the Band-Aid right off and deal with it. Because what we deal with will become in the past, and now we can move forward. But all began with some hope, guys. May 13, 2025, the A's were riding high, sitting at 22-20 and showing flashes of promise that had fans daring to dream. The A's walked into Dodger Stadium and delivered a masterpiece against the reigning World Series champions, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Jeffrey Springs started that night. He pitched 7 dazzling innings. 6-hit ball, allowing just 1 run. Jacob Wilson erupted for a career-defining performance. He went 4 for 5, 2 bombs. And the A's unleashed an offensive onslaught, tallying 18 hits and 11-1. Demolition of baseball's best teams. What's up, G-Dub? Sure was. I've been standing on the ledge a lot of times this team. Especially during this stretch, man. 11-1 over the Dodgers that night, if you guys remember. We were jubilant. High fives. I was giving high fives to Bill and G-Dubs. Players were confident. Optimism filled the air. But little did anyone know that this would be the high watermark of the season. A fleeting moment of glory before an unimaginable spiral into despair. Over the next 22 days, the A's would lose 20 of their next 21 games, plummeting from a contender to an afterthought. We were 22-20 at one point. And by June 4th, the A's sat at 23-40. Their season effectively over before it had truly begun. What followed was not just a losing streak, it was an unrelenting avalanche of heartbreak and humiliation. The beginning of the end started. Los Angeles and San Francisco. Game 2 against the Dodgers. Miguel Andujar's clutch double down the left field line scored Shea Langoliers and gave the A's a 3-2 lead in the 4th inning. For a brief moment, we dared that the A's could take the series from the defending champs. What's up, Mark? Looking at this Angels roster and lineup, I cannot fathom how they are ahead of us in the standings. I was in Italy for that 21-game stretch, so I take full blame. Yeah. The Dodgers roared back after the A's were up 3-2. And they cruised to a 9-3 victory, if you guys remember. It was Tyler Ferguson in that one. If that wasn't bad enough, the next night, the Dodgers won 19-2. But still, we had some faith, right? You lose to the Dodgers in their backyard is hardly a disgrace. Many teams have met their match against the Dodgers in Chavez Ravine. But what followed in San Francisco, the next 3-game set, was a gut punch. The Giants swept the A's in a 3-game set. You remember Wilmer Flores, 3-run outburst, 3 home run outburst in game 1? 9-1 they won. You guys remember game 2, right, Bill? Mason Miller walked in a run. Yastrzemski, wasn't it? No, they walked Yastrzemski to get to Flores, I believe. It's all so old right now. 1-0. 1-0. We lost game 2 in 10 innings. Game 3, we had a lead late, up 2-1 in the 8th. The bullpen faltered as the Giants rallied for a 3-2 win. I think Lamont Wade led off the inning with his only hit of the year. Only hit of the year against the Giants. And at that point, the streak stretched to 5 losses. But there was hope, right? Mark, you were talking about it. The A's were heading home for a 4-game series against the Angels. The Angels. This was time to get right. It was time to get right against the Angels. A's fans hope for redemption against their division rivals, but instead, they witnessed more agony. Game 1 was close, but ended in a 4-3 loss. Game 2, the A's had a lead, 4-1, led in the 5th inning, only to watch it evaporate, which was a common theme. We lost game 2, 7-5. Game 3, J.P. Sears got rocked. And everybody else who took the ball as well, 10-5. Game 4, desperation had set in. We were winning game 4 of that series 5-2, heading into the 7th inning, actually. Grant Holman came in, imploded. 5 runs as the Angels stormed back to win 10-5 and complete a 4-game sweep. The streak now ballooned to 9 losses. Boney, without getting too personal, are you locked on long term? I feel like we're all in it together here. I'm in it with you guys, man. I'm in it with you guys. 100%. As long as you guys are watching, I'm in it with you, G-Dub. I'm in it with you guys. As long as you guys are watching, tuning in, and interested in the A's, I'm with it with you guys. For sure. Nothing personal there, bud. We're all in it together. But before we get to the next series, which was Philly. Remember, Philly came to Sacramento for 3 games, streaks at 9. Philly came in a 3-game set. I want to cover that and just about everything else up next. Preseason is already heating up and college football isn't far behind. Whether you've got your eye on big name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. This year, being from the Bay Area, I am super excited for the Niners and actually very excited for the Vegas Raiders as well. Can either of them make a serious playoff push? I am looking forward to capitalizing on a few over-unders this year. Not quite sure as of yet, but I have a couple up my sleeve. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. I've used Prize Picks for a few seasons now and love how simple it is. I can get a lineup in before my coffee finishes brewing. The flex play option is a total game changer. Even when one of your picks misses, you still doubled my money. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Download the Prize Picks apps today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, run your game. Next up were the Philadelphia Phillies, one of baseball's elite teams. We were facing Zach Wheeler in game one. And the A's countered with Jacob Lopez. Jacob Lopez, this was the first time we saw him as like, hey, does this kid have something, man? We kept it close for 8 innings. We couldn't score off Wheeler. We were down 1-0 entering the 9th inning. That's how good our pitching was that game. Mason Miller surrendered 3 runs in the 9th to make it 4-0. And then Nick Kurtz hit an absolute bomb, 3-run homer to dead center. And it was 4-3 just like that. But we couldn't get that one. We couldn't get one more run. And Phillies took game 1, 4-3. Game 2, honestly, even though it was a losing effort, it was arguably the most thrilling game of the season until it wasn't. The A's held a slim 6-5 lead entering the 9th. Mason Miller came in again. Max Kepler, you guys remember that? 1 out, no one on. Max Kepler hit a ball to right field that I think is still going. And then they added 3 more runs in the 9th. In the 11th. They won 9-6. The streak at this point was at 11. By game 3, we were desperate, man. We were absolutely desperate for something, anything to cheer about. And finally, we got it. Lawrence Butler tripled in the tying run. Willie McIver singled, giving the A's the lead in the 8th inning. And Miller redeemed himself by closing out a nail-biting 5-4 victory. It snapped an 11-game losing streak. But any relief would prove short-lived. What's up, Mark? I wasn't here to talk about the Urshela move. So glad Harris is getting big league reps at third. Yeah, me too. I'm high on Brett Harris. I think he has the possibility of being the future third baseman. He's hitting, he's fielding, he's unbelievable. Love him. And with regard to Geloff, yes, Geloff's been hot. The key thing you got to look for in Geloff when you're watching him in Vegas is as long as his strikeouts are down, he's getting better. And that's what's been going on. Yes, the 4 home runs in 3 games is great, but the big stat there is he's not striking out. And that's what we want to see with Geloff. What's up, Chuck? Maybe it's Kase works Sterner and Ferguson. Yeah, we're going to get into that for sure. I don't think this current group of players would allow a 22-game collapse. Yes, it is a completely different vibe for sure. What's up, Sam? We are playing like a playoff team now. I hope the young pitchers can continue to improve. We are playing like a playoff team, but you got to also remember, RD, the only thing that got me a little concerned is we were this way last year in the second half. We're only 2 games better overall right now than we were last year. When you don't have expectations like the team doesn't have right now, you play a little bit more loose. And again, yes, the vibe is different. I moved to SoCal 3 years ago when the A's played the Angels. The games are blocked from my, oh, God, that's so, yeah, right. Because Anaheim. Anyway, we snapped the 11-game losing streak, right? Like, hey, are we going to start to get hot a little bit? Are we going to get back in this race? We go to Houston for a quick 2-game series. JP Sears, man, got rocked again. Game 1, 11-1 defeat. In game 2, we took a 3-2 lead into the 7th inning. And to your point, to your point, Chuck, Justin Sterner coughed up 3 runs as Houston won 5-3. And just like that, now it's 13 out of 14. We go to Toronto. Toronto's damn good. Game 1, they shut us out 12-0. Game 2 wasn't much better. A wild affair loss with 11-7 loss. Game 3, we showed a little bit more fight, but lost 8-7. By game 4, the fans had grown numb to disappointment. We held a 4-2 lead heading into the 8th. But again, the bullpen, man. Again, the bullpen. Again, the bullpen. Again, the bullpen. Toronto put up 6 runs in the 8th to win 8-4 and complete the sweep. We came back home. We faced the Twins. You'd figure this would be an opportunity for redemption or at least some sort of damage control. But instead, it became another chapter in this nightmare season. Game 1, Severino lasted just 2 innings as Minnesota scored 6 runs in the second and won 10-4. Game 2 brought more of the same. Twins jumped out to an early lead and cruised to a commanding 10-3 victory. Game 3, A's fans had enough. Another lifeless performance ended in a 6-1 loss. That was it. That was the end. That was 20 of 21 games. We won game 4. We took 2 of 3 from the Orioles. Then we go to the LA. We play the Angels and we get swept by them. But then we go to Kansas City and we kind of turn things around. We sweep KC and we're looking better. On May 13th, guys, on May 13th, the Athletics were sitting 2 games above 500, 22-20, man. I mean, this is painful just talking about now. We were actually 20-16 at one point. 22-20 on May 13th. 2 games above 500, with dreams of contention swirling through the clubhouse and our fan base. 22 days later, they were staring at one of the most catastrophic stretches in franchise history. 20 losses in their last 21 games, with their season effectively over before summer even began. What went wrong? Well, everything. Bullpen was an unmitigated disaster, blowing leads with alarming regularity and turning winnable games into crushing defeats. Mason Miller wasn't good. He alone accounted for multiple blown saves. It turned potential victories and losses that broke the A's spirits. Grant Holman, Justin Sterner were equally unreliable, with late game collapses becoming routine. Offensively, yeah, there were flashes of brilliance. Jacob Wilson, of course. Nick Kurtz was up and down. But those moments were far too rare to offset the team's pitching woes, man. Too often, the A's failed to capitalize on scoring opportunities. How many times did we leave runners in scoring position? How many times did we see promising leads evaporate due to the A's inability to hold opposing offenses at bay? Defensively, we were terrible. Mistakes piled up at crucial moments. We didn't call each other off in the outfield, compounding team struggles and further eroding any confidence, man. And then there's the morale. The morale was bad. How can it be bad, right? A team can only endure so many gut-wrenching losses before doubt begins to creep into every at-bat and every pitch. On May 13th, we believed we were witnessing something special. First year in Sacramento, all the negativity around the franchise and the move. And it was a team capable of competing with baseball's elite, perhaps even making noise come October. I know I was talking. 22 days. 22 days. That's all it took. And the dream lied shattered. Now, the A's face hard questions about their future. Can this team regroup? It's looked like it. Let's talk about the future. Let's get on the positive side of things. We relived the 22 days. We tore the Band-Aid off. Now, let's talk about the future. Let's talk about what we have and what we're doing. Let's get on the positive end of things. Up next. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you are calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. I am taking Jordan Love as my MVP this year. It's a flyer, but I think the kid from Green Bay will have a huge year. Wouldn't it be fun, though, to see the Niners and Raiders in the Super Bowl? Highly unlikely, but hey, how about parlaying the Raiders-Niners as division winners? I bet you that'll pay a few bucks. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bet now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Guys, we're 14-7 in our last 21 games. 14-7. We're playing great baseball right now. We got an opportunity to sweep the Angels today. We go to 3 in Minnesota this week and then 3 in Seattle. We're playing good baseball. Our whole attitude's changed. Our whole approach at the plate has changed. We're striking out a lot less. We're taking a lot more pitches. And there's energy in this clubhouse. I think we could easily feel that. Reliving this nightmare stretch was painful enough in real time. Once you get to Stowers' 9th inning grand slam, well, the Stowers whole grand slam was actually when we were still doing okay. The Stowers grand slam, G-Dub, was the series before the Dodgers. That was the series before the Dodgers, right? We were in Miami, or excuse me. One was the Stowers. No. I'll tell you when it was. The Stowers Grand Slam was game 2 of the series. We win game 3 of the series. Then we come home and we face the Mariners. We have the walk-off win. Jacob Wilson has the walk-off win in game 1. Game 2 of the series was when Kotsay used Tyler Ferguson for the 4th straight day, and we blew a late lead. And then Gunnar Hoglund went in game 3, and we blew that late lead as well. Then the Yankees came to town. They took 2 of 3. Then we went to Los Angeles. So almost living this nightmare. Yep. But yeah, that was a stretch, man. That was a stretch. The team's different, right? The team is completely different right now. We had Soderstrom get off to such a hot start at the beginning of the year, and then he kind of slumped for a while. Kurtz was up, but he was still at the beginning of his deal. He was hurt for a period of time before he came back. Shea was up and down. Shea wasn't the Shea he is today. We have Colby Thomas. We have Willie McIver. Willie McIver versus Johnny Peretta. I love that energy differently. Hernandez is playing some ball. I like Blade. He's a whole new Blade right now. Brett Harris, I love him at 3rd. Team is on a good track. A little bit more pitching, could compete for a wild card next year. Do you think the A's sign another free agent starting pitcher in the offseason? Well, here's the deal, Jay Lopez. First of all, we don't have a whole lot of money to sign anybody, right? I covered this the other day. The money we have right now is like to sign like somebody like a Cal Quantrill. Pitchers are expensive. Now, here's what we have as far as our rotation, though, coming in next year. And this is what you got to look at. And this is what you got to figure out and say, hey, who do we want to replace, right? Everybody talks about signing free agents. Okay, and I'm not opposed to that. But you got to ask one more question that's deeper. Who do you want to get? Who can you afford? And who do you want to replace? Because right now, here's what our rotation is looking like next year. Our rotation is looking like Severino, Springs, Jacob Lopez, Jack Perkins. I think those 4 you can set in stone. Now for the 5th spot, you got a number of guys you can go with. You can go with a Luis Morales, who's been looking great. You can go with a JT Ginn, who's been up and down. I don't think Jamie Arnold's going to be up at the beginning of the year. I don't think we can count on that. So do you really want to spend money for somebody like a Cal Quantrill to replace those potentials? I don't know. And again, will Cal Quantrill even sign with the A's? And how much of a premium would we have to pay him in order for him to come? Because he's not coming for nothing. If it's the same between the A's and some other team, he's going to sign with another team. So we would have to pay him a premium. We don't have a whole lot of money next year. So that's the question. With regard to Severino, Springs, Lopez, and Perkins, I'm very comfortable with those four. I'm extremely, extremely comfortable with those four. I don't want to change any of them. And there's a lot of players right now competing for that fifth spot. So that's the question. Who do you want to get rid of? Excuse me. Who do you want to replace and who do you want to get? If it's Cal Quantrill, who do you want to replace? Not to go too far off topic, but aside from rookies, who is your biggest surprise success and biggest disappointment this year? My biggest disappointment is Lawrence Butler. Without a doubt. I thought Lawrence Butler, and I would put Bleday up there too. I would put Lawrence Butler and JJ Bleday up there. I thought JJ Bleday could compete for an all-star position, and I had Lawrence Butler competing for an MVP. I did. Sounds crazy now. What's crazy about Butler is his strikeouts, man. 143 this year. 16 home runs. He's batting .230, 707 OPS. He has been just a shock. Man, as far as surprises, I didn't expect Soderstrom, Wilson, or Jacob Lopez. If you had to pick one surprise, it's Jacob Lopez, no question. And then going down from there, I didn't expect Wilson, Kurtz to be this good. I thought they were going to be solid. I thought they were going to be contributors. I thought they were going to be rookies. I didn't expect them to have this type of splash. But if I had to pick one surprise, it's Jacob Lopez. And then closely in second and third, it's Kurtz and Wilson. G-Dub, I don't see the obvious free agent starting pitcher in our price range. Good call. Would prefer a hungry Trevor Bauer at league minimum than a declining Verlander. I mean, so here's the deal with Trevor Bauer. I mean, let's take away all his off-the-field issues. The guy has to get guys out. Right now, even in Japan's minor leagues, he's getting shelled. So even, is Bauer even good? I mean, the guy's getting absolutely tattooed. That's the question. Verlander pitched well last night. But again, I mean, how much you have to spend for Verlander? And will he come? I don't think any of those veterans, like a Verlander, like even a Scherzer is a free agent, will come to Sacramento. Not on a one-year deal with their career kind of on basically, at the last couple of years. Butler needs to learn from Harrison Hernandez. Butler needs to be hungry again, Bill. We need a hungry Butler. Once you extend somebody, they're different. They don't have that same hunger. They already made their money. So, Bauer was a cancer. Right. And if you're going to have a cancer, you better freaking be pitching at like a sub-2 ERA. You got to be that good. I don't need a number 5 starter and a cancer. No thanks. And I don't even think he's a 5 starter in AAA. I feel bad for Butler. He looks defeated when he steps to the plate. Let him smash in Vegas for a week. Yeah, it worked for him last year, didn't it? I think Bill, I think RD, the issue with that, which I don't agree with, is I think Butler, the way he's playing, the difference between Bleday and Butler, they're both struggled enormously this year. But Bleday never signed an extension. So when you don't sign an extension, you can say, hey, go figure out your you-know-what in AAA. With Butler, sign an extension, you can't really do that. You could, obviously, but, whatever. Getting worried about the future of Schumann. Yeah, when Wilson and Muncy come back, Will Hernandez, I think Schumann's next man up. I think what they're going to do is either one of two things. I think they're going to either DFA Urias or they're going to send Schumann down. But both, you still have Wilson and Muncy. So I can still see Wilson coming up, and either Wilson and Muncy, you still have two spots to fill, right? In that scenario, it's going to be Schumann and Urias that have to go. I don't know who else is going to go. When Denzel Clark comes back, I think Carlos Cortez is the guy to go. But Denzel had a setback yesterday, so who knows how that plays out. But I do think as far as next year, Mark, I think Hernandez takes Schumann's spot as that kind of super utility guy, right? The guy, because he can play third, he can play short, he can play second. And as far as how our infield shapes up next year, this is how I have it. I have it either like this. I think we all know that shortstop and first is done, right? You have Jacob Wilson and Nick Kurtz. With regard to second and third, it's going to be either of these three combinations. Brett Harris at third and Max Muncy at second. Brett Harris at third, Zach Geloff at second, or Max Muncy at third, Zach Geloff at second. One of those three combinations. And the odd man out will be on the bench. I don't see any of them really being set down. Sounds like a great time to deal one of these young studs for a pitcher too. Mark, here's the deal. Here's the issue I have with dealing for pitchers. I don't like that, and here's the reason why. We have seen, when a position player gets hurt, Jacob Wilson, Max Muncy, Denzel Clark, they're out like 4 to 6 weeks, right? You see a pitcher get hurt, like Luis Medina, Brady Basso, Ken Waldachuk, they're out like a year and a half. I mean, we've seen this constantly in baseball. It's just how it is now. I don't think you trade for pitchers. I think you develop pitchers from within. And the A's have done a good job of reloading their pitching in order to do that. I get it. The pitching sounds great, but if one of these guys go out, it's like they're not out for like a couple months. They're out for like the year. And then they're like, maybe they're back 2027 All-Star break. It's the nuttiest thing right now with pitchers. So the one thing I don't think you can do is I don't think you can sign any pitchers to a long-term deal. And I don't think you trade prospects for pitchers. I don't know. I just don't think you can do that. Did you see Boyle get hard? Yeah, I did. And Boyle was dominating in AAA, man. Boyle was dominating in AAA. And, even when he came up, it was the same old Boyle, Bill, for the most part. It was like, not particularly in that start against the Giants, but in previous starts, it was the same old Boyle. Looks great for an inning, 2 innings, and then get shelled. I always wanted to see Boyle as a closer. I thought Boyle would be a great closer. I don't know why teams haven't tried making Boyle a closer. When do I think Gage Jump makes it to the majors? Jay Lopez, I've always had one theory. I've always had one theory and one theory in principle. You never want to rush young pitchers or players. But here's the deal. If a guy like Gage Jump can go to AAA Vegas next year and dominate over a 5, 6, 7 start outing, bring him up. Bring him up. Other than that, let them develop. Let them develop. If they can dominate, he's pitching well in AA, and he's pitching really well in AA, and I expect him in AAA next year, maybe even late this year. But if they can dominate at the next level, there's no need to keep him down. But low A, dominate low A, you go to high A. You dominate high A, you go to AA. You dominate AA, you go to AAA. You take that type of path, especially with young pitchers. You let them develop. Dominate at the level you're at, then take the next, then get promoted, just like anything else. So that's my thing with Jump. And if we need him, so would I love to see him there next year? Yeah, but I don't want to rush him up. I don't want to rush him up at all. If he's ready, he'll show he's ready by his performance. And we'll see what happens with that. But we got an exciting team. I agree with RD, what RD was saying earlier. We have a different vibe right now. We have a playoff vibe. I like where the franchise is going. There's a lot of energy. We're 14-7, man. We're 14-7. We're playing good ball. Playing different type of ball, too. It's fun to watch. Let's get the sweep today. This is one thing we have not been able to do often, is close out series on Sunday. Let's go to Minnesota and let's take care of business against a bad Minnesota team. And then we have a showdown against Seattle. But for right now, let's enjoy what we're seeing game in and game out. Because right now it's a lot of fun. This is the type of season we've been waiting for. And we've already paid our dues. We've already shed our tears. We've already had our misery. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy it. We got, what do we got left? 40 games left or so, fellas? Something like that. Actually, what do we have left? 37 games left. 37 games left. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy the next 37 games. That's what baseball's about. And until then, we'll see what happens. You said it, Cage. Let's get the sweep, bud. Let's get the sweep. It's been fun, but 105 first pitch. Hey, we go against a tough pitcher today. Soriano's no joke for the Angels. I believe that's who we're facing. And we got Jeffrey Springs on the bump today. He had a bad outing last game. I want to see him bounce back. How do you think the new LV ballpark will play? Do you think the roster built in mind with this? You know, I was talking about this yesterday. It's going to be enclosed, dry air inside. I think it's going to be hitter friendly. I don't think it's going to be Colorado Rockies hitter friendly. I think it kind of similar, a little less than what we're seeing in Sacramento hitter friendly. Like it'll favor the hitter. If I was to put a percentage on it, I said like 55% hitter, 45% pitcher. I said that last night. So I don't see it being like a Colorado Rocky hitter friendly, but I do see it being hitter friendly. Hey guys, let's get this one. I'll be around for post game. Hope I see you guys here and enjoy it, man. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate you guys and can't wait to talk a little bit more A's baseball with you. Take care, guys. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the all-night Locked On MLB game night, every game, every night, until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB game night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts.